everyone, we just returned from our very first Princess cruise on the Sun Princess, and we're here today to share with you our likes, dislikes, and some things that were very unexpected. If you're new here to the channel, we are Sharon and Jamie from Sharon and Travel, and we are going to share with you our likes, dislikes, and things that were unexpected, and we're going to get right into it. We're not going to waste your time, so we're going to start with the things we really liked, the good things about the Sun Princess. So, Jamie, what's number one?
All right, well, Sharon, you're right. We're not going to waste time. Just know this. We've been on a lot of cruises, over 60, and this is our first time ever getting on Princess. So we're familiar with cruising, but we noticed a few different things on this ship that we're here to share with you. And I get it. There's a lot of Princess lovers out there, and you're going to not like some of the things we say, and a few people will be interested to hear what we say. So hang in there. Just take it all in, and then you can leave all the comments you want below the video once we're done. All right, Sharon, let's get started with one thing that I really liked a lot, that I was impressed with. The Wi-Fi and the quality of the Wi-Fi on the ship. Now, everybody's using Starlink now, but there are different levels of quality. Recently, I were on another cruise ship that will remain unnamed, although it goes by 3 letters on the regular, and I could not even upload any videos or anything, whereas on the Sun Princess, I was able to upload a 20-minute video in about 2 hours, which doesn't sound great, but it actually is pretty good. So I found that the speeds, the connectivity, everything was really, really good. We were super impressed with the Wi-Fi, and make sure you sign up for it. They don't have different levels of it. It's either on or off, and it was great. And one thing that also was kind of cool, I was able to use a VPN with the Wi-Fi. It took a minute to get the connection going, but I was able to add the VPN once I was connected. And for you folks that need that for work or for other things, that's a win as well. So the Wi-Fi, 2 thumbs up from us, and we loved it. Sharon, what do we have next?
Let's kind of stay on the technology level here. I am going to talk about the Princess Medallion and the app. So we really love this. It's the first time we've experienced it. The app is very friendly on our phone to use. It's very easy to navigate. You can find out what's going on around the ship.
Yeah.
You can order things. You can. There's so many things you can do on the app. And the medallion, I found it really cool that as you walk up to your door is open. So you approach your door, and all of a sudden you hear this click, and it's open. So you don't have to stick a card in the door or anything like that. So that was really awesome as well.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of other things you can do with the medallion as well. Unfortunately, we didn't get to check out everything because it was a shorter cruise, but I think we're going to go on another Princess cruise really soon.
Oh my God, we definitely are.
We're going to try all this stuff out. So.
You know what's super cool with the medallion? You'd walk up to like a restaurant for a reservation. Boom, they know who you are already. You don't have to give them anything. You don't have to disconnect. You walk up to a bar, as long as there's not like 10 medallions right around you, and they'd be like, oh, Mr. James and Miss Sharon, what can we get you? Or, anywhere. We went to guest service. I mean, everywhere where they have the little medallion deal, they would know you, and you don't even have to take off your medallion or take it out of your pocket or however you're holding it. Some people have it on a wristwatch. Some people really go all out for their medallion.
Yeah, so
you are so right. I found the medallion to be super easy to work with, and 2 thumbs up for the medallion.
Yeah, 2 thumbs
wow,
up.
The technology was hot fire on the Sun Princess. Now, the next thing that we really liked, and it's not one of the biggest things for us, but I know for some of you, it's a huge thing, almost a deal breaker. Do you like coffee? Are you a fan of coffee? Well, they had coffee, and they had a lot of it on the cruise ship. Every place we went to, they had coffee. They had good coffee. Whether it was as simple as the buffet, the dining room, everything was great, easy to get, tasted fabulous. Oh, the French press in the main dining room was delicious. And then when you went out to a lot of the other venues, now they didn't have like a Starbucks, right? There wasn't like a big upcharge thing, but there were some upcharges in a few places, but nothing too out of the ordinary. They had the International Cafe. Right, you can get coffee there, including coffee with a cocktail, like alcohol in it, a spirit, a liqueur in there. And they also had the Currents, right? That was a great coffee place, very, very popular.
Coffee and cones?
Oh my God, that was, and Coffee and Cones was the place that had those ice cream sundaes too.
Yeah.
Whew, those were hot fire. And even when you went to get gelato, you could get yourself a double espresso, and that's something that you enjoyed a couple of times.
I had a few double espressos.
I've never even seen you order a double espresso. No wonder you were up late and you were dancing and you were bouncing off the walls. So the coffee, if you're a fan of coffee, you're going to find a lot of options, a lot of included, as well as a few slight upcharge depending on what package you have, whether it's the Plus or the Premier or whatever the case is.
They are included in the Plus and Premier.
Yes, and there's a lot of it. So if you're a fan of coffee, you're going to be happy. And we're not huge coffee people, but we can recognize something that's good for the people, for the cruisers, and coffee is a good thing on the Sun Princess.
Now, Jamie just mentioned a place, and I'm going to kind of talk about it again, and that's the International Cafe. This was a place we loved to go get some little late night snacks. You can get things during the day, even at lunchtime. You can pick up a sandwich and other little snacks. They had breakfast, not a full-on breakfast, but you could get like pastries, donuts, muffins, and boy, those donuts were amazing. I had a couple of them. And so that was a great place to go for those type of things. It's open 24 hours, and you can always find something great to snack on, or even a meal, basically, there. So I love the International Cafe.
It's not like they didn't have a ton of stuff, but everything they had was fantastic.
It was very good.
It was really, really good. So great point, Sharon. That was awesome. International Cafe. There's a lot of cafes on a lot of cruise ships. This one was a big, big victory for us.
And 2 thumbs up for the International Cafe.
All right, now let's talk about things to do. Listen, Princess, I think, has a reputation with folks who haven't been on Princess of being something for the older clientele, right? A little bit of a slower deal. Maybe they have like cane races or scooter challenges. That's not the case on this ship, guys. It was all ages. Yeah. All ages could have a great, great time on this cruise ship. And one of the things that I really liked were the activities. They had a ton of activities constantly in different places on the ship. Trivias, music, dancing, dance classes. They had all kinds of stuff. Drink mixology stuff. They had it all. And it was constant throughout the day. I went into the app and took a look and said, okay, what is there to do today? Woo! I mean, it took like 3 minutes to get through the whole list. It was crazy. So tons of activities and entertainment. Okay, we saw some great entertainment on the cruise ship. And they had one gal, Janice Martin, who was a fabulous performer. She did like trapeze while playing a violin. We were like, oh my God. Yeah. And then their crew, the onboard entertainment, the dancers, the singers, these guys were awesome.
Yeah, they were fantastic. They were very talented. I know some cruise lines you'll go on and, there's some great shows, but maybe the singing's not the best or the dancing and things. Yeah. But things were probably not real elaborate necessarily on the cruise, but everyone had extremely good talent.
Oh yes, the singers, the dancers, we were blown away by them. And of course, then they have the Dome, where it's kind of a junior Cirque du Soleil kind of environment, and we saw some good shows up there too. So just everywhere we went, great entertainment on this ship. So we were really surprised. Oh, and the entertainment was all night long. Yeah. I mean, it's 11:30 at night, and we're at like a bar called Crooners on the ship, and it is boom. I mean, people are dancing and partying. Plenty to do, tons of things going on the Sun Princess. We heard it may not be like that on all ships, but we're just speaking specifically about the Sun Princess, and all that stuff was just fantastic.
And the last thing we're going to touch on that we found extremely good, that we really loved, and that was the MDR, the main dining room. And I know that's something on most cruise lines people don't really make a big deal over it, like it's usually
kind of an afterthought.
Yeah. But on Princess, on this particular cruise on Sun Princess, it was amazing. It was probably the best main dining room experience we have had on any cruise out of all of our 60 cruises.
At least like a top 2 or 3.
Yeah,
at least a top 2 or 3.
I'm going to say it's number 1.
And everyone we talked to, we had some friends on, and they said the same thing. They were like, it was fabulous. Everything was great. What did you like most about it?
So they really did a great job with the main dining room. I mean, the service was right on point. The food was really good, and the presentation of the food was great as well. So I loved it. Great main dining room experience. I'm going to give it a 10 thumbs up. No, I can't have 10.
10 thumbs up?
I'll give it a 2 thumbs up.
Give it 10 fingers up.
10 fingers.
10 fingers, and maybe throw 10 toes in there, Sharon, while you're at it.
That's all I'm going to say. It was a great experience.
So that was great. So that's just a handful of likes, a couple things that kind of just jumped out at us. There's plenty other stuff to like about the cruise. We had a great time, but those are some likes right out of the gate. But I know y'all are waiting for what's coming next. Yeah. We've got some dislikes, then some things that were really unexpected. So there weren't a lot of things to dislike, but there were a few things that we were not fans of.
There's always a little good and bad on every ship.
That's true. You're absolutely right.
So Jamie, what was the first one?
All right, so the first dislike was, now I know it's a new ship, and I know they're working out some kinks, but it's been sailing for a number of months overseas, and then they just came over and they had a weekend sailing before ours. We got on a Monday. We were kind of the first revenue sailing, if you want to call it that, out of Fort Lauderdale and Sun Princess. But man, I'll tell you what, someone needs to understand that the air conditioning needs to be turned on in the hallways and the elevators. I am not kidding you. I swear I am not kidding you when I tell you that I would get in an elevator and go up 5 or 6 flights, and I would come out of there sweating. It was so hot. It was crazy. You'd be in a hallway and it's warm. Like you'd come out of your room, it's cold.
Yeah.
And you would even comment about how cold it was.
It's like
in
you're
the
walking
room.
into an oven or something. Well, not totally like an oven, but there was a big difference.
Yeah, hallway, warm. You got to where the elevators were even warmer. You got in the elevator, you're like, oh my gosh, it's so hot. And sometimes that'll happen when an elevator is near like an external door, like, you know, the door to the Lido deck. You know, you get up a couple levels on the cruise ship and you sense that. And I understand that, but no, this was everywhere, every time. People commented on tons of elevator rides we took.
Forward, back, every elevator, all different times of day. It was just no air conditioning going on.
So whoever's got the HVAC licensing going on the Sun Princess, please, you need to make these adjustments. And especially like on formal night when we're dressed up a little bit more. I had a tie on one night. I'm like, oh God, it was brutal. So AC is definitely missing in a few areas.
And really quick, I'm going to touch on something. Jamie said how cold the room was. And I'm going to talk about that for a minute. So our room was extremely cold to the point where I had to bump it up a couple notches. And it's like when you bumped it up, it kind of almost went totally the other way. But anyways, I could not get it comfortable in the room. And most cruise lines, the vents for the air conditioning are usually like in the ceiling. Mm-hmm. So you don't really feel it like coming right on you. You just feel the room cooler.
Yeah.
Here it was like on the wall next to the sofa. So if you slept on the side of the bed,
pointing to the bed
next to the sofa on that side, the air was literally just coming straight at you all night long. And I was freezing. I should have had Jamie sleep on that side of the bed, but I didn't know that at the time.
No, you went in and said, I'm calling this side of the bed, and you had to be stuck with it. But what's funny is that
cold.
I love the cold. So if it's up to me, I'm like, I'm going all the way down. And then I'd go over I'd say, oh, it's a little warm in here. And then I'd hit the thing down, and then Sharon would go over and be like, boop, 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 and she'd turn it back up again. It was a battle finding a really comfortable temperature.
It's like you're hot, cold.
Yes, but if you need a cold room, our room was and it was a balcony room. So room temperature. I know it's important, and if you like a chilled room, they've got it for you on the Sun Princess. All right, another thing that I didn't like was I liked the casino, right? It was a new casino. They had good games, and the dealers were pretty good and all that kind of stuff. But it was extremely smoky, first of all. Mm-hmm. If smoke in the casino bothers you, you are not going to like being in the casino on this cruise ship. So that was an issue. I get it. That's part of the deal. They don't have any non-smoking. I heard on the next version of this, the Sphere class ships for Sun Princess, they're going to make an adjustment to that. But a lot of smoke in here. And ashtrays and stuff everywhere. And when I walked through during the day, I was like, this is the cleanest, nicest casino I've ever seen. But when I walked through there at night, and it was very busy at a high point, it was a mess. There were glasses, cans, beer bottles, filled up ashtrays. It was really, really rough.
Yeah, it's like they didn't have enough crew to really pick up after people and
like it's one thing to sit down and have a smoker a couple machines away, but it's another thing to sit down and right on your thing is like a dirty glass, a half-filled ashtray, on the next game or the next slot machine, whatever the case is. There was just a lot of that, and it was really disappointing. It wasn't a very clean environment and heavy smoke, Sharon. Yeah, heavy smoke.
Another thing that was kind of disappointing to us is that they did not serve, at least on our sailing, they did not serve breakfast on debarkation day in one of the main dining rooms.
It was a bummer.
Every cruise line we've gone on before, they always have one dining room open for breakfast, so you don't always have to go to the buffet.
Yeah.
But the buffet was pretty much the only place unless you went to the International Cafe or something. And we just like to go, have a nice, relaxing, quick breakfast.
That's our ritual.
Come back, grab our luggage, and get off the ship. That's kind of a ritual, as Jamie said. That's how we do it on debarkation day. Well, that wasn't an option, so we did have to go to the buffet. And it's always chaotic. You know how the buffet is. It's chaotic. There's, crowds of people. You can't find a table. A lot of people have their luggage with them that they're taking off the ship, so there's pieces of luggage everywhere. It's just a madhouse.
Yes.
And we prefer not to do that. But anyways, we ended up doing it, and it worked out okay, but it was just something that we did not like.
Yeah, no MDR on debarkation morning. I mean, come on, princess. You're going to do better than that. All right, now here's another thing, and it may or may not annoy you, but it annoyed the pants off of me in the cabin. Now, I mentioned earlier how the Wi-Fi was awesome, okay? But when we when we tried the TV, right? Some people say, oh, why do you watch TV at all on a cruise? Okay, well, we like to watch TV at the end of the night. In the morning when you get up, we put on the TV. At first glance, a lot of channels. If you want news, they've got your news. And no matter what side of the news aisle you're on, they have you covered. There were a couple other channels. There were a couple of ESPN channels as well, and a few other straggling channels, some movie stuff and all that. Almost the entire cruise, a full 5 days, the only channels that came in clear consistently, visually and audio, were the 4 ESPN channels. The news channels were constantly pixelated, broken sound. You couldn't watch them. You couldn't get anything out of them. And I'm not quite sure why. When it started out on the cruise, I thought, okay, it's just a satellite thing and we'll get into, the right area soon. But it never happened. Nighttime, daytime, morning, whatever the case is, it was always messed up. And then I tried it on my phone, and I used my VPN and connected to my streaming service, and I kicked it on, and the news and every channel was perfectly clear. So it's not a satellite issue. I just don't know whether it's a norm for this ship or if they're still ironing out some stuff. But the TV situation drove me crazy. And again, you may not watch any TV, and I get it if you do. But for us putting it on, we like to keep busy with it in the background.
Yeah. Well,
and it was all jacked up.
We're those odd people that like to sleep with the TV on all night at home.
Yeah.
So we always just turn the TV on for kind of like background noise and the light in the room at night. So.
Yeah, and I love the TV. It was huge. It was like a 55-inch TV and it had a lot of other great features in it. But the channels were jacked up. So I just don't know what it was. And no, I didn't bother to contact our cabin steward over it. Because once we got about halfway through the cruise, I'm like, okay, it is what it is. Yeah. We'll worry about it another time. It wasn't that big a deal, but it was enough big deal that it annoyed me a little bit, and if you're a TV fan in your room, it might annoy you.
And the last dislike we have is specialty dining. Now, usually specialty dining is great, but on our particular sailing on the Sun Princess, the specialty dining was, I'm going to say horrible. It was just horrible. We ate 3 different nights in a specialty restaurant, and there were bad things about all of them. The last one was probably the best, but the first 2 were really bad, and the first one was just like the worst experience we've had ever at any specialty dining restaurant. And that
really was.
And that was in the Crown Grill.
Yeah, the signature steakhouse on this cruise ship.
It was horrible. Bad service, cold food. I don't know.
All right. You want me to talk about it a little bit?
Sure.
All right, let me break it down for you, okay? 5-night cruise. The first night, main dining room, fabulous. Then the next night, we go to the Crown Grill, signature steakhouse. We're so excited about this. We get there. It's about a 20-minute to 25-minute wait just to get a table. We had a reservation, but we still had to wait in line, and the other people in line. And from the minute we got there, we're like, this is weird. It's very disorganized. It's very chaotic. We're looking in the restaurant, and things don't seem to be going well. We finally get seated. It takes quite a while to get taken care of. Our service is not good at all, and we can start seeing from all around us that things have gone really wrong. I don't know if it's
was not happy.
The crew wasn't happy about it. The restaurant was in the weeds, just a restaurant term. If you've ever been somewhere where everything is just going wrong, it took forever to get our food. At one point, our server had to come up to us and say, listen, I'm sorry, but I have no idea how long it's going to be until your entrees are ready. I swear he said that to me. Then he also pointed out that there was another table that had been there since 6:30. That was when our reservation was, and they hadn't gotten their entrees yet. And then finally he said, I think what's wrong is that our restaurant, because they had some moves recently, they recently changed some locations of their restaurants, so I'll give him that, but they had moved to some things around, and he said that the steakhouse was sharing a grill with, I believe he said, Rudy's Catch, or the Catch by Rudy restaurant as well, and the grill was very small, and they didn't have enough room to cook all the steaks. And we're like, okay, whatever. We knew it was bad when other tables were actually cheering when they finally got their food. Yeah, there were people next to us we were talking to about it.
We heard people going, yay, and a big commotion. We thought it was somebody's birthday at first.
There was like a table of like 12 people off to the side. Well, there was like four tables that had like 12 or 16 people. They were all in a group. They were all talking about it. It was unbelievable. And then we heard a couple of nights later that at one point they actually just stopped letting people in. Someone said that they had a reservation, and when they got there, they were told, I'm sorry, we had to cancel the reservations. So by the time we got out of there, we had been there, I don't know, like
3 hours.
A little over 3 hours it took for the whole process. And when we left, which was only around 9:30ish or so, we were some of the last people in the whole place, 9:30, 9:45. So we were shocked at the unbelievably bad experience we had. Then moving forward, okay, then another night we went to Rudy's, the Catch. We had a bad experience there. It took a while to get to our table. It was very unorganized. You could tell people were very discombobulated. And the thing that really got me mad, that frosted my cruller, I watched someone come out of the back with a tray, and I knew it was our food because it was a surf and turf that you got, and I had ordered the Dover sole, which has to be filleted at the table to get the bones out, right? It's a little bit of a fancy thing. So I watched them carry a tray out with these two meals, and a lady came out, went over to one area, looked around for a while, talked to another server. They were confused about what was happening, and then she walked to another area and put our food down on a tray and walked away. Then she came back out, probably about a minute and a half later, took the tray, went back over to where she was earlier, talked to someone about it, and put the tray down there. Still confused, not knowing what's going on. Then walked away. Then a few moments later, she comes back, and she takes the tray from where it was and puts it down where it was earlier. I'm not kidding you guys. I swear to God, I watched this meticulously, and I talked the whole thing through to Sharon as it was all happening. And I'm saying, that's our food, that's our food. And then finally, about a minute and a half later, our server walks out, grabs the surf and turf, gives it to Sharon, and says, just give me a moment. We have our filleter, our professional filleter who's going to come over, the deboner. Oh, and he says, we're going to take care of that. So then about a minute and a half later, a guy comes over, gets the tray, gets my food, puts it on like a rolling cart, comes over to me and does a whole deboning. Very nice, very fancy. So I'm not kidding you when I tell you that I saw this food sitting out there for no less than 7.5 minutes. And that is a very, very long time. And that blew me away. And the food was cold when we got it. Sharon's steak was undercooked when she got it.
My steak, I ordered it medium, and it was literally as rare can be. I mean, it was, to me, it was rough. Raw.
It was rough.
The lobster was literally cold, not
ice cold,
warm at all.
Yes.
Well, not ice cold, but it was not warm at all when you touched it.
If I would have put the lobster in my water, it would have made the water colder. I'm pretty sure that's how cold it was. Okay, I'm exaggerating. All right, so that was that. So far, 2 specialty nights off. One night we ate dinner at Alfredo's, the pizzeria. Food was good, wasn't that bad, but again, a total vibe where everyone was confused. No one knew what was going on. It was the craziest thing. And finally, the way it worked out with our specialty dining, we had another lineup. We had another night going to the Crown Grill, and we said, let's go back one more time and see if there's a difference. Luckily, there was a difference. It was much improved. This was on the last night of the cruise. So the Crown Grill, they redeemed themselves a little bit.
For the most part. My steak was still
Your steak wasn't great.
Undercooked again.
Yes, and my cut of meat was not as good. That's the funny thing is the food itself was better on the first night at the Crown Grill when the service fell apart. And then when the service was much better on the last night, the food was kind of, my ribeye wasn't that good. We almost ordered the identical things just to give it a check. So I know it sounds like we're bashing it, and we are a little bit, but it happened. So if you love Princess and you're thinking that would never happen, I'm sorry, guys. It did happen to us on this cruise ship. We'll talk a little bit later in the unexpected part about why maybe some of it happened, but it did. And the specialty dining was off with a capital OFF. All right, so now we've covered a few things that we really liked, a few things that we really disliked, and finally, we're going to cover some things that were very unexpected. Sharon, the first one you have is unbelievable, and we only noticed it halfway through the cruise, and you were like, you know what?
I know. I was sitting at dinner one night, and all of a sudden it just dawned on me. I'm like, you know what? They've never asked us that so far on the entire cruise, and it continued throughout the rest of the cruise. But they never once asked us if we had any food allergies, which I found very strange. Every cruise line we've been on in the past, every cruise for the last few years, someone always asks us every night at dinner, does anyone at the table have any food allergies? Or any other time, if you go to breakfast in the main dining room.
Any dining.
Any dining room, they always ask you that. I can't even remember when they haven't asked me. Sometimes they'll ask more than once if different people come to service you.
Yeah.
But not once were we asked that by any of the staff.
Yeah, we're not exaggerating.
Or on board the ship. Now, for us, this wasn't really a problem. We don't have any food allergies, thank goodness. But for someone maybe that does, or maybe they're new to cruising and they do have a food allergy and didn't realize that they have to say something or whatever, that could have been a big problem.
That was super unexpected.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is something that Princess does on all their ships, or if it's just something that was specific to Sun Princess, or just to the sailing, or I'm not really sure. So if there's any other Princess cruisers out there, please post in the comments below. Is this something that is this kind of normal for Princess or not?
All right, another thing that was totally unexpected, and no, I'm not harping back on the specialty dining, but this was unexpected. So we had that insane incident, that crazy night at the Crown Grill, the second night of the cruise. Well, then the next day, we get back to our cabin late in the day, and there's a letter sitting in our cabin saying that we apologize for the experience that you had. So it wasn't just us, it was an entire situation going on. And they actually gave us each $100 onboard credit applied to our onboard account.
Yeah.
Each one of us got $100 onboard credit to say that they were sorry for what had happened.
That's
which
crazy.
We were extremely, that was way unexpected. We didn't complain. We didn't say, we were totally cool with the guy. We've cruised a lot. We're not there to cause a stink or anything.
Yeah.
It was what it was, but how shocking was that?
We were very shocked.
And we were blown away by it.
And that's really, we had Crown Grill booked the last night already before we even went on the cruise. And we were planning on canceling it after that night. But once we got that, we decided, you know what? Hey, they're trying to make amends. Let's give them a second chance and see how they do. So we went back the last night. Yeah. And, you know, we had the premier package, so they were all included anyways. But we just thought, you know what? They were trying to do good. So
and the last night was almost a full 180 from the experience. But we thought that was fabulous, amazing service. And just super cool that they did that to that level too. They could have been like, here's $25 or just sent a note saying, sorry, here's an ice cream cone. But no, they went above and beyond. And we appreciated that. So very nice job on that, Princess and Sun Princess crew.
Now the next one may not mean that much to anyone. And it really wasn't that bad. It was just kind of something that was unexpected to us.
Yeah,
and
you thought it was very weird. I remember.
So the second night, all of a sudden, it dawned on me, and I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, something seems wrong about this bed. The bed was very comfortable, but there was no top sheet on the bed. All there was the duvet, you know, the comforter on top of us, and that's it. And I just found that very odd. I've never been on a cruise before where there wasn't a top sheet on the bed as well.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a one-off, if it was just our guy who did a great job for us, our cabin steward, or,
I don't know.
or if that's just a
Once
thing.
Again, let us know in the comments if you've ever had that happen, or if it was just like a random thing for us. But
and they make the bed every night, and you checked every night. You're like, no, there's no sheet. There's no sheet again.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, just strange.
Another thing that was unexpected, but I really liked it, was how they handled the towels. Now, every cruise line we've been on, when you need a towel, you have to go and you have to usually sign it out. And maybe some of the higher end ones, not necessarily, but at least the three big places, the three big cruise lines, you got to sign out the towel, you got to use your card, whatever, sign a paper, and then they check you off when you return it, right? They're trying to make sure you don't take it home as a souvenir. Well, here, they didn't do that. As a matter of fact, they had tons of stations where they had towels, and you could grab a towel, you could use the towel wherever you were, leave it wherever you were, leave it on your deck chair, bring it back to your room and leave it there to get collected. You could put it back in the bin, the dirty towel return. But I just really liked it because there were lots of places to grab a towel. Even when you're getting off the ship, like in Grand Turk or something like that, you could take it off the ship and bring it back on. Just don't leave it on the beach. But I just thought that was cool, and it was very unexpected that you could do that so easily when usually you have to jump through a couple hoops to get yourself a couple towels.
Yeah, you always are worried that, oh my God, I got to get that towel back so I don't get charged for it.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of a nice to not have to worry about. And another thing that was very unexpected to us was the service on the ship. This was our first Princess cruise, so we have read several different things online about how great Princess was, how the staff, the crew, great experience, service, everything. So I guess we were just kind of expecting that, and that we found that not to be really the case on this particular cruise. It was just very odd. Most cruise lines during the inaugural season, they will put their best crew out there. You know, there's certain ones that maybe go from ship to ship, new ship to new ship, and they have everything, running smooth.
Yeah, they're on lockdown.
But I don't know. I don't think that was the case with the Sun Princess because everyone there seemed like they were new, like they hired a whole new crew just for the Sun Princess.
Well,
or something.
I don't know if it's. I don't know. I'm not going to say that it's everyone. I'm going to say it was more like a 50-50. Like
enough
I found
to make a difference and notice.
Definitely enough to make it noticeable. There were plenty of places where we had good service, right? I mean, all the bars were fantastic and stuff like that. But all these dining experiences that we had that ran amok on us, we found the service wasn't good enough to make up for whatever else was going wrong. When we went to the Crown Grill, the server just was off. I get it. He was mad. He was upset. The night wasn't going good. But he didn't have good service to make up for it. When we went to Alfredo's Pizza, the guys were confused. They had no idea what they were doing. I think they've been making these pizzas for 6 months now, but it's like they had a guy having to tell them which one was which. And at one point, we ordered a round of drinks, and I ordered another one, and the guy started pointing and letting me know that there was a bar right over there. I'm not sure if he was saying I need to get my own drink or what, but while he was saying that, like a manager guy overheard him and came running over and said, no, let me get that drink for you. And he went and got the drink. So I think the guy was telling me that I could go over and get my own drink while I'm sitting there eating. And then on top of that, at one point I ordered a beer, and I ordered a Miller Lite from a gal at the Americana Diner. And she said, what kind? I said, it's a Miller Lite. And she walked away, and then she came back and said, can you spell that for me? And I was like, yes, Millerlite. And she was like, oh, okay. And I was like, wait a minute, come on. You don't know what a Miller Lite is? How many different beers do you have? That's crazy. And then we had the situation with your shake where you ordered a fancy strawberry shake at the Americana Diner.
Yeah, it was
and then
kind of strawberry shortcake something.
Yeah, and then when they brought it to you, it looked like a glass of strawberry milk. And we said, hey, is this right?
It's supposed to have whipped cream and all these toppings on it. It had nothing.
The girl takes it, walks away. A guy brings it back and says, oh, no, this is what it is. We just don't have the other ingredients right now. Like, wait, did you want to mention that beforehand before we ordered it?
There was a couple times we also went to a bar and ordered one of their specialty drinks off their special, their menu for that particular bar. Yeah. And the bartender had to grab the menu, look at the menu, and find out what ingredients are in that drink before he could make it.
Yes. It wasn't everywhere on the ship. There was some amazing, the Cascade Bar was fantastic. We had some great experiences, don't get me wrong. But there were enough experiences where we were like, wait a minute, don't they have some of the best people on board this brand new ship that just got to the U.S. to start sailing out of Fort Lauderdale? It just took us by surprise that the service across the board wasn't better in especially the eating establishments. But, it was just a little bit off, and it was very unexpected that would happen on this cruise.
Finally, the last thing that we found a little kind of unexpected was the buffet area, the eatery. It was on deck 9, which we're used to it being like all the way to the back or the front of a ship up high, and that wasn't the case.
No, that was really weird. When we first stumbled across it, we were like, wait a minute, where are we? Because you're right, it was between midship and aft of deck 9 was the eatery, and it threw us a curveball. And I said, I don't know if I like this. Turned out I really like it. It was great. The buffet itself was great. It had a horseshoe shape. It went to both sides of the ship, starboard and the port side. There was plenty of great seating. It looked small, but it sat very large. It was very comfortable. And they had some extended places and extra areas you can go sit that weren't really far away or on the other side of the ship if the place was pretty full. Even when it was busy, it worked very well. And you know what else was cool? On the outside area, on each side, was the promenade area where they had additional food. They had the Lido slice. They had a Lido grill out there. The same things they had up on deck 17.
Yeah, you get like burgers and pizza.
For that stuff, a salad bar and all that, a little bar. They had that on the outside too. So although we didn't see burgers and pizza and stuff on the buffet, you could go outside. And I love the fact that if you're there with kids, you could say, okay, kids, we're going to eat on the buffet. You guys run outside, grab your pizza or your burgers and come back in again. So unexpected. I thought we were going to hate the buffet in that weird location. Turned out I loved it. I was wrong.
Yeah, it was
I was totally wrong with that. And I also liked that they had the grab and go section there. Sandwiches, salads, you can go grab those any time of the day or night.
Yeah, even late at night, sometimes there were still some sitting there.
Yes, and I think you really liked the donuts, the grab and go donuts.
I did. Any buffet that has good donuts is for me.
So there you go. Those are a few likes, dislikes, and unexpected things that we found on our first ever Princess cruise on board the Sun Princess. Listen, overall, we had a great time. It was a great cruise, and we are ready to book another Princess cruise and get the full Princess experience. But that's just what happened to us. It was just our opinion. So, don't get mad at us for it. That's just how it was for us.
That's right. And if you're new here to the channel, don't forget to subscribe before you click away. Click the notification bell so you'll get notified when we post new content. We have more Sun Princess content coming your way. And give the video a like. It really helps support our channel. Be sure to leave a comment, especially if you're a Princess cruiser, and let us know if some of these things has ever happened to you before or if it's just kind of random. We really would love to know because we are planning on taking another Princess cruise. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.